Will did acknowledge that he reached out to Allie's brother to discuss the rumor and ask him about the rumor because he just assumed that that's where it came from. And he then finds out that it was not from Allie's brother. Okay. Will the person who started the rumor about Will Kulp at law school hooking up with another person please stand up? Come into my DMs. I want to know what the hell is actually going on and what you know, because this is too much. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bravo by Gays. It's me, Larry. I hope you guys had a great week. Happy Friday. We had so much television this week. I mean, last night alone was must-watch, like, appointment TV. We had Southern Hospitality, the season 3 finale. We had the reunion right after that, which is amazing that they didn't make us wait a week and they gave it to us directly after the show. We also had Traitors, their finale. Their reunion as well dropped right after the finale. And Southern Charm. I mean, what a time. Like, Thank God for Thursdays. We also had Summer House on Wednesday, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on Tuesday. Like, we have just been stacked all week long. And what I want to talk to you guys about today is Southern Hospitality, season 3 finale and reunion. It was so freaking good. So let's head down to Charleston and talk about everything that happened. All right, guys. I mean, I've said it once. I'll say it 10 more times. Southern Hospitality is that show right now. If you aren't watching, what are you doing? We had the season 3 finale yesterday, and again, we got their reunion right after the finale, which Bravo I don't think has ever done before, and I kind of loved it. Like, is it a lot of television? Yes, but also, why not just go right into the reunion? Now, I've seen so many people online talk about how, like, it's season 3. How have they not had a proper reunion yet? Like, why are these people still going in the Watch What Happens Live studios? And I will say, based off of the ratings that this show has gotten, I would not be surprised that season 4, they get, like, a full set reunion like every other show. They're, like, one of the top rated shows on Bravo. I think it's Southern Hospitality, Below Deck, and Summer House, I want to say. There was an article that was released where they had released like the top 3 shows on Bravo right now. And Southern Hospitality just like is that girl right now. And listen, I mean, I've talked about it many times on the podcast, and just if you're sleeping on it, like, wake up. What are you doing? The cast is amazing. So many great additions this season with Michols and Molly, who is a friend of the pod. We've had Lake join the cast. We've had Austin join the cast. And it is just, it's a must watch. Like, there are many shows where I don't watch, like, as soon as they air. Like, I might watch them the next day on Peacock or, like, stuff like that. But I know that every Thursday I am sitting in front of my television and watching Southern Hospitality. And this season, top tier. Chef's kiss, 10s across the board. Obviously, there was so much going on with Will and Emmy. If you listen to the podcast with Molly and Mia, I mean, we got into all of that. If you haven't listened, go back and take a listen. It was such a good conversation with the girls, and it was just a couple weeks back. So make sure to check that out if you want to hear what they had to say about the seasons and everything going on down there in Charleston with their crew. But let's talk about the season finale, because the anticipation of so much, like, was absolutely insane. Like, I absolutely needed to know what the hell was going on, like, what the hell was going to happen at that prom. I needed to know, like, was the mystery girl from law school actually going to, like, was someone going to bring her in? So many people online are saying, like, I'm going to need someone from Southern Hospitality to pull a Kristen Doty from Vanderpump, like when she brought in Miami Girl to SUR. They're going to need someone from Southern Hospitality to do that with the girl that Will is rumored to be cheating with. So, I mean, could you imagine? they didn't do that, just a heads up, but I mean, it would be like absolutely insane television. So at the Southern Hospitality season 3 finale, it starts off with like prom night, but the way that they edited it made it seem like it was like you're about to watch like a scary movie. It was just like the fuzzy TV screen with like the wording and like prom, like 3 days before prom night, 2 days before prom. Like they're really getting you hyped up as to what's going to happen at this prom that Emmy had planned for everybody. So it starts off like, how cute was Michols asking Preston to prom? Like, I love Michols. And I think he is the perfect addition to the cast. He fits in so well with everyone. You don't see him have an issue with anybody. Really kind of the only drama that he was in this season was a little bit in the beginning, like with him and TJ, but just trying to figure out like what their relationship was. But they were able to get over that. And then just a little bit of drama with him and Emmy, but he was also just trying to be a good friend and like talk to her about what was going on in the streets, about like what's being said about her and Will's relationship. But aside from that, Michols really brought it. I mean, we got a glimpse into his life story and like how he doesn't really have a good relationship with his family. And we got a glimpse into his dating life. Ultimately, he ended up with Preston. I know if you are keeping up on social media, they have now been dating for, I mean, over 6 months now, so good for them. But Michols asking Preston to prom was so cute. He, like, blindfolded him, and he had these 3 cakes. One just said prom ? And the other were the responses with either yes and no. He gave him roses. And Michols talks about how he would love to have like a prom redo because he went to prom with a girl he was dating. And let me tell you, same. Because if I could do prom all over again, and granted I'm so much older than Michols, I totally would because, and don't get me wrong, I loved my prom date. It was a girl that I was dating in high school. But if I could redo it, I would definitely like have preferred to have gone with like a guy. But I mean, listen, she's not listening. I love her to death, the girl who I went to prom with, but it's just one of those things, like you reflect back and you wish like you, like certain things, like things would have been different. And I don't know, we're not going to get into all that, but it was so cute. Preston ultimately says yes, and they're going to prom together. So I'm so happy for them. I really love Preston and Michols together. I wasn't sure how I was going to like Preston, just based off of maybe like the way that like he came off like at Michael's birthday party. I don't know. Something about me just thought I wasn't going to like him, but I ended up loving him. Like by the time the season was over, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy that these two are together. But after that, we then get to see Joe Bradley ask Maddie to prom, and it was so freaking cute. The rom-com like grand gesture that he made in his promposal. I mean, he got the old school car. He was like standing outside of the car, outside of her house with like the radio in the air to get her attention. And then once she finally comes like up to like the balcony, he has all of these poster signs with words on it. And I literally was just obsessed with it. I loved the fact that he realized that he doesn't need to rush anything with her. And he took the time to like think about that and ultimately be okay with like that decision and like what direction the relationship is going. But it was so cute. And I love that he said like we can even call it prom-com, like a rom-com, but prom. Listen, these promposals that like kids do now, and like they put so much thought into it, and doing like all of these like grandiose things, the way that you ask someone to prom is absolutely insane. Like I don't think I would ever be able to come up with a good idea to ask somebody that way. So I'm glad that when I was in high school and I had to go to prom, I just said, do you want to go to prom? Like, I couldn't imagine having to like come up with some like unique, creative way of asking somebody, because I probably wouldn't have went. Like, let's be honest. It was just, that's a lot. But so like, just so happy for all of that stuff. It like makes the show so cute. I will say, shout out to Maddie Reese for making the One Tree Hill reference when she got into the car, saying that she felt like Peyton from One Tree Hill, because that was amazing. One Tree Hill is such a good show. Okay, so the promposals are over. We're kind of now getting into the mix of everything before prom, and we're at Republic, and Brad and TJ are working to figure out the truth about the cheating rumor between Will and this other woman. And I don't think they're going about it like in a malicious way whatsoever, but they definitely want to find out like the truth about these rumors so that way they can put an end to it. And it's so funny when they're actually like filming while they're working, because like they're just like going up to the bar and chatting and like, I don't know, it's so fun. I just love the way that they just like film everything like about the show. I love the aspects that they film like at Republic itself. It's like cool to see like what they actually do as far as like the bottle service. You see the girls out there with the signs. You see like them selling the bottles out front. TJ's making drinks. But where they find time to like have any type of conversation in between that about anything that's going on with their friends, I'm just like, how do you do it? So I know that like I bartend on the weekends, and the last thing I have is time to like talk about rumors of like in regards to what's going on. So, but listen, I love to see it. Now, again, we're going into the way that production edited all of this stuff, where it's like the scary movie, like screen with the wording. We're finally at the day of prom, and Emmy and Will arrive at the prom venue, and they just don't seem that excited about it. Now, Emmy wanted to do this for Will because she was not able to go to his law school prom, so she wanted to like go all out. She wanted to have it catered. She wanted to do like a prom king and queen. They wanted to have it like at this amazing venue, which they did. They had it at this absolutely gorgeous mansion in Charleston. And they were the first to arrive. And Will, literally, it looks like, I think he even said like he doesn't need to change because he was still in a suit from work. So all he was going to do is put on a different tie. I don't know. I just feel like by the time prom came, he was probably just so worn out over like fighting with everybody that he really didn't even care about having this party. He just seemed so checked out of the show. But I mean, listen, the show must go on, right? You guys gotta throw this party. And I'm sure, actually, no, I'm not sure. I want to know what was going through their minds when they decided to be the ones to host this, because they fought at another party last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was like their season finale party. They had it again at like another house. I don't know. It just didn't seem like they should have been the ones throwing the finale party. But then again, I mean, like, thank God they did, because all the drama was surrounding them. So they had to be there because they were hosting it. But whatever, I digress. While Emmy and Will are at the venue, they're cutting to scenes of like everyone getting ready. We have Mia and TJ getting ready at TJ's house. Brad shows up, so the three of them are getting ready for prom. They're like kikiing and drinking some wine. Brad's got his eye patches on. And Brad drops a bomb that he has received information that Will is being seen all over campus with like this girl. Like, so he's being seen all over law school, and everyone believes that this girl that Will has been seen with is his girlfriend, and that girl lived with him for a short period of time. Now, excuse me, what? Like, the cheating rumor is one thing, but now you have a secret live-in girlfriend? What is he doing at law school? Like, somehow, I don't even know. Like, what is going on at that law school that all of these rumors are coming out about him, and he has a girlfriend that's living with him? Like, has Emmy not ever been up to the law school? Has she not met, like, his law school friends that, like, all of a sudden, like, this is what people are saying? It's like, the math ain't mathing. But I do love that Mia did make a comment that said, if she found out that a girl was living with Trevor, that we would be thinking of him right now in memory of. Like, he would not be here. She would kill him. And I feel like that's like the normal, like, reaction, right? In my mind, I'm thinking if Emmy finds out that Will had a girl living with him this entire time, she's going to lose her fucking mind and be unwell and have to get checked into a facility because she will go crazy. Right? That doesn't seem to be the case because later on in the show, we find out that like Emmy actually like knew about this girl that was living with him. We'll get to it. But it was just a lot. It was too much. Like, you're going into this event that they are hosting, dropping this bomb before you go to the event. These kids are messy as hell, and I'm obsessed with every single aspect of it. Like, okay, like before you go to the party, you're going to drop this bomb. So now you got to figure out like what this is all about. I mean, thank God for that girl that worked at Republic. I don't recall her name, but she's like a girl that worked at Republic that also works in a law office, and her coworker goes to law school and is study buddies with Will. So she's like, I'll just ask him and like see what the truth is. Girl, where were you all season? You're just coming out with this now at the end of the season? We could have found out about all of this weeks ago and moved on to something else. But I mean, I don't care. I'm here for it. I'm like living for the drama. It's so good. And listen, I don't know if Will and Emmy come back next season. If there's another cheating scandal rumor, like, I'm just out. Like, that can't be their thing every season. I'll get into what my thoughts about them returning are later in this episode. Well, the gang arrives at the prom. I'm telling you, man, these houses in Charleston are fucking gorgeous. I've been down to Charleston now a bunch. I try to go at least once or twice a year. The houses are stunning. I don't know what people are doing down in Charleston where they can afford these freaking houses, but like, sign me up. Are you hiring? I want to do it because I want to live in a house that looked like that. It was absolutely gorgeous. Everything starts out great. We're seeing everyone arrive. Lucia comes. You guys remember Lucia from season 1 and 2. Also, what happened to Lucia? Why was she not brought back for season 3? I feel like there was so much good around her where she could have been brought back, like, even though she wasn't still working for Leva. Because even in season 1, although she was working for Leva, we saw a lot of her home life with her son, and like the boyfriend she had at the time. And then we got to see stuff go on with her and Bradley. So I just want to know, like, someone tell me, why was Lucia not back for season 3? I was happy to see her return, though, for the party because she's fun. I've met Lucia. She is a blast. She's so much fun to hang out with. So I would have just loved, I don't know, I just wasn't ready to see her go. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe she'll pop in again in seasons to come and she's still, like, friends with the whole entire crew. So everyone is showing up. People are taking pictures. They're voting for prom king and queen. They're dancing. And all of a sudden it cuts to Will and Emmy outside on, like, the patio of this house. And they're just standing there by themselves, away from people. And it's just, like, cricket noises. Like, what? I mean, I felt bad for them. Because, like, why aren't you in there, girl? Like, having fun with your friends. You planned this whole party. You should be, like, dancing and, like, taking all the photos and, like, doing all this stuff. But instead, you are just off to the side with your man. Your man. Like, what? Like, I get it. But, like, I don't know. It just seemed like they were there only to wait for the drama to come so they can leave. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't... And listen, we only get to see so much. I'm sure there were, like, moments during the finale where they were actually having fun with the people that were there, and maybe they just edited it to make it seem that way. But I don't know, the way it came off, I like, felt sad because she was so excited for this prom, and then she didn't even enjoy herself. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was a lot. I mean, Austin arrives to the prom dateless. And we learn that Austin came by himself because Will was contacting Austin's girlfriend's brother that morning, like, to talk about all of the cheating rumors. So his girlfriend, Allie, decided to not come. She was expecting to go to this fun prom night event with, like, her boyfriend and, like, all his friends. That got taken away from her real quick because Will was making phone calls to the brother all morning long. And it almost seems like he was trying to like be a little bit calculated in like what he was doing because he probably felt like he was going to get the heat at prom. So he wanted to make sure that he had all his bases covered. So he was reaching out to the person that he thought started the rumors about him. Come to find out, it wasn't even the brother who Austin heard that from, supposedly. I mean, to me, it makes sense that Austin would have heard it from his girlfriend, who heard it from her brother, because who else would Austin know at law school with Will that would seem to want to reach out to Austin to give them this information? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot. It also seemed like Will didn't really want to get into who he heard it from because he didn't want to ruin his relationship with his girlfriend, who was probably the person that he heard it from. You know what I mean? He was trying to cover too many bases, but it all like comes back to like everything comes back and is pointing at you and for hearing this from your girlfriend. But whatever. Austin gets there. He's instantly telling everybody about what's going on as to why his girlfriend isn't there. He's telling anyone with an open ear that Will was making phone calls all morning long except for Will. Like, he was telling everyone except for Will. Well, the gang is continuing to come. They're continuing to flood in. We get Grace Lilly, who shows up to prom with frickin' O'Sheen. Now, girl, what the fuck are you doing? You were physically in Vegas, but were you mentally there? Because you just had a whole conversation about everything with O'Sheen and how you're not friends with Eva anymore because you had sex with O'Sheen. And you were telling Maddie that you feel bad about all of that and you want to make up with Eva. But then you show up to prom where Eva's going to be with the man you hooked up with behind her back. I'm telling you guys, I've said it before, if I hadn't met Grace Lilly in real life, I would not think she was a real person. That was so insane. Like, I think like Molly said it perfectly, like the audacity. Also, like, get O'Sheen off my television screen. I'm so sorry. That man is so gross. And I usually I do like everybody on Bravo. I have never really like been vocal about like people who I just like do not care about. That man just gives me the ick. Like, something about him is just like, I don't know what it is, but I don't need to see him anymore. I don't know. I'm good on O'Sheen. But there is so much going on at this prom. We are cutting from people entering the house. We are cutting to Austin telling everybody about the Will thing and calling Allie's family. Stuff's going on with Grace Lilly. Like, there are 10 different problems in this house right now, and I need to focus on one at a time. Like, there is just too much going on. Now, I will say, like, God bless TJ. I love TJ on this show because when he's fed up, he's going to go off. And he tells Maddie Reese and Molly that he knows more than what he's been, like, leading on. And he starts sharing that he found the girl that Will was, like, supposedly cheating with. And he knows that Will took this girl to law prom while Emmy was on a ski vacation. And they cut to the photos of Emmy on the ski vacation. And that he also knows that this girl has lived with Will for a few weeks. Now, you have got to be kidding me. Emmy is here organizing this entire event for Will. She didn't get to go to his law prom because she went on what looked like a family vacation. So because she was not there, he took another girl to the prom. And now she's trying to recreate it to make sure that he has a good time. But he already had a good time because he went with somebody else. Allegedly. Who the hell knows? I don't know what to believe anymore with this freaking group. There's so much going on. But we're about to find out what the hell is actually going on. Now, Maddie in this moment makes such a good point when she says that Emmy is overcompensating, throwing her own version of this. Like, but also, is it overcompensating when she doesn't really know what happened? Like, what if she didn't know that Will took some other girl to law prom? I wonder if there's any, watching back, I wonder if there are any moments watching this season where Emmy is like, wow, I didn't know that. Or she's learning anything new about Will for the first time. Do you know what I mean? And if so, how is she reacting to that? I don't know. It's a lot. Listen, it is a lot. Now, I don't even want to like go over like the Grace, Lilly, and Molly argument because Grace Lilly is clearly in the wrong about everything she did, showing up with O'Sheen and all of that. But kudos to my girl Molly for calling Grace Lilly out on her behavior with everything. Now, as I had stated before, Austin is all over the place, talking to anyone with an open ear about how Will has been calling Allie's family all morning. He's been telling everybody except for Will. So, like, and let me say this. I get how TV works and how editing works. It looks like it has been, like, dragged out over so long, like, over half the episode, when in reality it could have probably been over a span of 5 to 10 minutes. Like, he probably didn't want to approach them as soon as he got there, but he probably told a couple people, and then a few minutes later, they were like, no, you need to go say something. At least that's what I'm hoping, because I hope he didn't wait half the night to actually approach them about this and would have just, like, done it head on. But Michols is the one who actually says something, and I love that Michols went up to Will and Emmy to let them know that Austin was telling everyone that Will has been doing this all day long. So thank God Mia brings Austin over and is like, listen, this is like going on. Like, this is going on. It's been going on for too long. You need to talk to him and tell him what you know. And if you don't know anything, then just stay quiet. Okay. Like, I love the way that Mia approaches like these situations because she just wants to like nip it in the bud. Like, say what you got to say or don't say anything at all. Because if not, then let's move on with the conversation. Let's move on with the night. So that way, like, everyone can continue to have a good time. Because I'm sure all of this is just hindering, like, the good time that, like, everybody else wants to have. You know what I mean? It probably feels like a weight. Like, they can't enjoy themselves until they deal with this bullshit first that they've already been dealing with all season long. They got to continue to, like, talk about it because every day something new pops up about this rumor. It literally, like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. So Will did acknowledge that he reached out to Allie's brother to discuss the rumor and ask him about the rumor because he just assumed that that's where it came from. And he then finds out that it was not from Allie's brother. Okay. Will the person who started the rumor about Will Kulp at law school hooking up with another person please stand up? Come into my DMs. I want to know what the hell is actually going on and what you know, because this is too much. Like, but also it does go to show that Will was doing his work. Like, good thing he just tried to, I mean, was he a little bit late approaching the person and like trying to figure it out? Yes. But I mean, at least he made the attempt to try and like hit it head on, even though he did it with the wrong person. I don't know. It's a lot, guys. It really is. I don't know how Emmy puts up with this. Like, I would literally never show my face again. I wouldn't be able to. But Austin does like end up wanting to talk to Will and just kind of go over everything and just like probably just talk one-on-one. They walk away and they go to another portion of the house to have this conversation, Will, Emmy, and Austin. And as soon as they get to where they want to talk, TJ walks out because he wants to hear what's going on. Brad comes over, Molly comes over, like the crew. Like, if you're going to say it, we want to hear it. We want to hear what's going to be said. Well, Emmy and Will wanted no part of that, and they left. They left their own freaking party because they didn't want to talk about all of this in front of everybody. All right, what? Girl, you are having a law prom. You didn't get to go to the actual law prom. You're having fake law prom here and you're going to leave? Like, it absolutely is wild. It also, like, blows my mind when people get themselves in these situations on these shows and they are in confrontation, that their first, like, thought is to just leave and walk away. Like, why would you do that? Because you're not going to get any resolution from it. You're just going to have to talk about it again. So why not just stay and confront it? And listen, we saw the same kind of annoying thing happen on Summer House, where West wanted to have a conversation with Sierra, but he was like, yeah, we can talk one-on-one. And Kyle was like, no, why? I want to hear it. Just have the conversation in front of the people so that way they know what was actually said. Because if you don't, your words are just going to get misconstrued when the version of what happened gets back to them and it's completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? Just have the conversation in front of your friends and be done with it, because they're all already at this point involved in your drama. So you might as well just let them hear what's going to be said. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Am I crazy, like, for thinking that? I don't know. I hate a walk-off. It does not, like... It just, like, seems like such a bitch move. Like, just stay and deal with the issues, please. Well, they didn't. They left the party, and now they're all yelling on the sidewalk, looking crazy in front of this mansion in Charleston, screaming at each other, like Kyle in Beverly Hills when she ran out of Bose's house in a bathrobe, and she's standing in the middle of Beverly Hills on the side of the street in a bathrobe with a Birkin bag and some sandals. You look crazy as hell. Like, it's just insane. And imagine the neighbors. Like, what do you think the neighbors think? Like, if I lived in that neighborhood, you better believe I would not call the police and file a noise complaint. I'd be, like, against my window with my ear peeking out, like, what the hell are these kids up to? It's just absolutely insane. So they leave. It's Emmy and Will. They're leaving on the side of the street. They're yelling whatever. They're arguing. Brad, Joe, TJ, and Michols go up to them to talk to them about what's going on and ask them why they're leaving and to just shut everything down. Well, that doesn't go as planned. TJ tells Will and Emmy that they suck, and he proceeds to tell them, you want to laugh and giggle like it's funny. I know you cheated on her with that bitch and that you lived with her and took her to prom. TJ with the T. TJ with the T. And listen, you don't want to get that man... I would not want TJ on my bad side. I'm telling you that much. I'm just saying. Because when he pops off, he pops off. Now, Will says something along the lines of, like, are you talking about so-and-so? And like, oh, like it just clicked. Now on the sidewalk, it just clicked who you think they're talking about. What? You didn't have any kind of idea and you couldn't have shut this down weeks ago. In this moment, you figured out who they're talking about. And Will says that this girl is a friend from law school that was moving and she needed a place to crash. So he let her sleep on his couch while he was in New York with the crew. I think he was doing Watch What Happens Live. So he let the girl crash on the couch. He said the next day when he got back, she was gone. Now, in the confessional, Mia's like, Will is the unfriendliest motherfucker I've ever met. There's no way. Like, there's no way he just let this nice girl sleep on his couch. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now, Emmy says that she knew about all of this, and it's fine because she doesn't feel threatened by the girl. I want to know the conversation that Will and Emmy had when the mics were off in that car after they left prom on the way home. Like, do we really think that she was okay with all of this? Or do you think that she is pissed that it is like brought out to light now? Do you know what I mean? Because that makes her look crazy. Will does such a great job of making Emmy look crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Emmy is good for reality TV. Will, I don't think it's his thing. Do I like Will? Sure. But I mean, this is not for him. Like, I think he wants to be a lawyer, make his money, go to work, hang out with his boys, go out, and you know what I mean? He doesn't want to be in the public eye, it seems like, and that's fine. But it's just, I mean, I just want to know what that conversation was like on their drive home. It was absolutely insane. It really was. Now, all of this messiness is going on. Everyone is trying to figure out what's going on with Will and Emmy. Maddie, for some reason, wasn't outside of the house with all of them when they were all talking on the sidewalk. She was still in the party. And out of nowhere, you get Grace Lilly coming out to, like, have a conversation with her and try to apologize. Like, Grace, girl. Like, the way that she interjects herself into certain situations is there was one funny one in the reunion we're going to talk about in a little bit, but it's just like not the time, not the place. Like, and Grace Lilly is also in her own world. I bet you she didn't even know what was going on with the rest of her friends. Like, there's no way she knew what was going on outside of that house. That girl is literally insane. Now, the ending to this finale was wild, right? So the finale ends with production talking to Will about the finale and what it could possibly be. And then this bomb is dropped that something happened amongst the group that has never been talked about. And Emmy has the screenshots to prove everything. And that this will hopefully give Will and Emmy some type of redemption. And then it cuts. It cuts out. Now I will say, 10 out of 10 finale. The show is fucking amazing. And Bravo is the best for giving us the reunion right after the finale. Now let's talk about the reunion. All right, guys. Southern Hospitality Season 3 reunion. Again, I've said it again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. These kids deserve a full set reunion. Remember like the early days when Vanderpump Rules used to do their reunion inside of SUR? Now listen, I've been to Republic. I don't think it's big enough for them to do a full reunion set or like sit down style thing in there. But I think that they should be able to recreate Republic and do it in like a studio. Who's to say? I mean, there's no way this show does not get a season 4 that we will see them next season on a full like reunion stage. But I mean, I don't know. I don't make the budget for these shows. Maybe it's just not there right now. It will be if you guys all start watching the show. But reunion. All right, guys. Now, you saw the trailer for the reunion. It looks heavy. It looks emotional, which are the exact same words that Mia and Molly used to describe the reunion when they were on the pod a couple weeks ago. Now, everyone is on stage except for Will Kulp, which I'm like, okay, this man, you got to be kidding me. So, they do state at the beginning of the reunion that Will showed up to the reunion and last minute decided to not join the group on stage. I'm sorry, what? How did that conversation go with Emmy? Like, sorry, babe, love ya, but I can't go out there. So you're going to have to go out there and deal with all of this by yourself. Fuck off. Are you kidding me? What? It's just so crazy. Now, Andy asks Emmy why he's not there. And she says right now for Will, he's there to support and love her. But he doesn't think that he can continue to entertain and engage with that group any longer in that capacity. So Andy says, so he quit the show then. And Emmy says, he didn't say that. Guys, isn't it common knowledge in Bravo if you skip the reunion that, like, you're fired? Maybe that's only for Housewives and not other shows, but I could have sworn it was for, like, all of the shows overall. Or is it because he actually showed up? So he'll be fine? I don't know. I will say that after a move like that, where you show up to the reunion, like you actually show up to the facility and you last minute decide you don't want to go on stage, I will not be surprised if we do not see Will on any future seasons of Southern Hospitality. But I say that we do see Emmy. I don't think Will will re-sign up. Which I will be interested to see if that is the case, how it impacts the relationship, because she'll then be around the group, but without Will. And I just don't know how that'll work. Like, so much going on. Anyway, Andy makes a great point that Emmy has had to spend this entire season having to defend her relationship and defend his behavior, and now she's on the reunion stage alone. I wonder if he was backstage feeling like an asshole, like, oh, I should have been out there. Should I go out there? Like, I'm assuming any normal person would go back and forth in their mind about that. But I don't know. I felt so bad for her having to like be out there alone, especially with her like meltdown at the end of it. Like it was at the end of the reunion, it was just absolutely insane. So Maddie Reese says that she would have loved for Will to be there because she has some things that she wants to speak with him about. Now, the bomb that dropped, right? So obviously, end of the reunion, end of the finale, like I had stated, it ended with production talking to Will, and Will had mentioned this bomb that they could have dropped for some redemption. Well, it turns out that the bomb that was dropped was the fact that Maddie's boyfriend Trevor last season never cheated on her. It was all made up. So, which is wild, because how did you guys go so long with knowing it and being a part of that, and you don't tell Maddie until the day before the reunion is about to film, and one of you don't show up on stage to talk to her about it? Like, I would be motherfucking you up and down. Like, that is so shitty to confront her in her hotel room the night before the reunion and not show up to talk about it. Fuck off. Like, that's absolutely insane. So Emmy says to clear her name with Will, they needed to tell everyone the truth that Trevor never cheated on Maddie with Sammy, the girl from last season, and that Brad made it all up. Yeah. And it's what? Now, she pulls out some screenshots, and it just seems like it was like Emmy, Brad, and TJ that were kind of in on all this. I don't know. Brad says that Sammy came up to him a couple weeks into filming and said the cheating wasn't true. But apparently then Brad said like they were too far in it for them to say something. It would have been too cold. Like, that's crazy. Like, if you watched last season, you remember all of this going down. Like, the girl showed up at Republic. She like all of this stuff, right? I mean, Maddie was throwing Trevor's phone in the street. Like, it was absolutely insane. But I did love that Brad took accountability for it. And he said to Maddie, like, he's taking accountability for what he does. He knows it was wrong. And Brad's line was like, I'm going to do something that Will has never done and take accountability for something. Like, guys, this crew, like, cannot stand that man. Like, and it's absolutely insane. But, like, poor Maddie has had to go, like she said in the reunion, she's had to go through feeling like such an awful person. And people, like, kind of going after her about the breakup and all this stuff. And to find out that, like, it wasn't true. Like, your friends made all of this up. I would be reevaluating friendships left and right. I mean, when was that? Like, a year ago? So, like, but, like, everyone knew about it. Like, even Mia said, like, girl, this isn't anything, like, that nobody know. Like, we all know. Yeah, but she didn't know. She just found out last night. Like, what? Guys, the drama with these, like, I'm obsessed. This is, you cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make it up. We go from that situation into talking about Joe and TJ and their situation. And TJ making that comment about being, like, saying once a cheater, always a cheater. And TJ said that he said that in a moment of like being hurt from like unresolved issues with Joe. Now, we get into the whole Joe and TJ situation about them meeting up at Bourbon and Bubbles to have that conversation about the moment that they had. Now, I will say, I think Andy even said it, like, I love the fact that Joe and TJ had that conversation about what happened between the two of them, because there are so many guys that would have been in that situation who would have never talked about it, let alone on television. So props to Joe and TJ for being able to get through that and have that tough conversation. I'm sure it resonated with so many people because so many people themselves have been in that type of situation. I'm sure, gay man and a straight man. You know what I mean? I know I have, shit. But Joe says that TJ went around town telling everyone that he was gay. But TJ says that he only confided in two people about like what he was feeling during the time of like what was going on with him and Joe. And I think what happened, and it seems like this is what happened, TJ may have confided in the wrong people, because even though he only told those two people, I'm sure those people probably went around and were telling other people, and they were just saying that TJ told them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so-and-so heard from TJ. So-and-so heard from TJ that Joe's gay. So-and-so heard from TJ that Joe's gay. But he didn't, I'm sure he wasn't expecting for all those people to run around town and say that Joe was gay. Do you know what I mean? Of course, somehow JT is brought in the mix. Like, oh my God. Just listen. Charleston is a small town. From like what I've noticed going down there and like from all of them saying it. You know what I mean? But it was just a lot. I think exactly how I said. I think TJ's he confided in the wrong people. They did say, in regards to where TJ and Joe stand now, that after filming things were good, but now their friendship is kind of weird again, having to watch the show back, which is completely understandable. You have to relive the situation all over again. So I'm hoping, what my hopes are for Joe and TJ, is that now that their season is over, their reunion is done, they've already tried to mend things while filming, they're going through that weird stage again, that hopefully now, during this break between season 3 and season 4, they can reconnect in their friendship and go in fresh for season 4. You know what I mean? So, like, they'll take this time to go through all of that, rebuild the friendship, and come back as a duo for season 4. Like, I would love to see that. And then they never have to talk about any of that stuff ever again. And I feel like they will be so happy about it. Like, that is what I want. That's what I want for them. And I hope, fingers crossed, that we do get it. Now, I do feel so bad for TJ in this moment because he is crying. Like, he is visibly upset about all of this. And he's saying that nobody understands how hurtful it is for him. This is where I was saying earlier, Grace Lilly kind of doesn't know, like, when her cue on, like, when to pop in. Because during all of this conversation, they're, like, obviously everyone is involved in the conversation going on about the situation regarding Joe and TJ, that Grace Lee just chimes in and is like, I've scissored a woman before. Like, what? Girl, read the room. You don't need to say that right now. She's absolutely insane. She's insane. Now, Joe does end up saying that he is proud of the conversation that he had with TJ because it is a really big issue. Although it's complicated, it's a really big issue, and he's glad that he had the conversation. Listen, I love that they talked about it. I felt so bad for TJ crying, though, but I'm glad that he had so many people in his corner. I'm glad that he had Brad kind of like trying to explain what TJ was upset about. He had Mia, and he even like talked to him, like was on his side a little. So I'm glad that like they were able to just have that conversation and move on. Now, we get into a little bit about Grace Lilly and like what's going on in her life and her career. And I can't even take it seriously because they cut to my girl Molly and she's laughing. Like, she does not, She's like, this has got to be a joke of a question. In her mind, I can see her being like, what the hell is this question? Grace Lilly has got a clothing line that she's coming out with called OGL, Original Grace Lilly. It's like, I think she described it as like Burning Man clothing. I don't know what that means. I don't mess with Burning Man. People say that like you go there and it changes your life. Good for them. Like, apparently it's some wild experience. That's not for me. I'm not going in the desert in the middle of the heat and taking a piss in the sand and like listening to DJs. I need AC. Okay. Like I can't do it, but she's got a lot going on. She says she's singing like Amy Winehouse. She's working on music. Again. If I had never met this girl, I would not think she was real. But I also freaking love her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's so in her own world that like she believes anything that she says. And you know what? Props to her. I love that for her. I love her optimism. There you go. That's what it is. I love her optimism. I died though when she said she sings like she's Amy Winehouse. Girl, you're crazy. Now, we get into the newbies, Lake and Michols. And Michols talks about where he stands with his mom now that like the season is over, and how he thought that sharing his story was going to maybe like mend his relationship with his mother. And it has not. He says that she has not reached out. And I feel really bad because like it seems like that's all he wants. He really just wants the relationship with his mother to be better. Although he does state that he has a better relationship with his brother, his sister, and his aunt. And it's a new level of support that he has from them. But again, nothing is going to mean as much as it would if his mom were to be supportive of him. And I truly hope one day for Michols that they do come back to a spot where they are able to like speak and have a relationship. I also feel like, again, it's said in the reunion that like, even Leva says it, like it's a lot of her stuff. Like it's a lot of her that she has to like deal with in order for that to happen. Because listen, Michols, just from being on one season, seems like such a great guy. And he seems to have like a great head on his shoulders and like just like good like values. He's obviously like in a relationship right now with like a man that he seems to love. There are just like moments in his life that his mom is going to regret that she misses, all because of her not being okay with like who he is. So I truly do hope that there is a point where they are able to come back to each other. Listen, I don't know if she's watched the show, but maybe she should, just to see like how her son is. But I want nothing but like good things to come out in the end for the two of them. Now, Lake, on the other hand, has a great relationship with her family, and she like has a completely different experience than Michols. Now, she doesn't think it's necessary for her to have specific conversations about her sexuality with her dad, because as she says, like, parents don't want to know about like their kids' sex lives. And listen, I agree with that. For her, she also feels like she shouldn't have to come out. Like, if straight people don't have to say something, like, why should she? Listen, she is very much like a powerhouse in her own right. And I love Lake. I think that she's such a great addition to the cast as well. She's funny. She's gorgeous. Listen, I love having like a bi queen on there. I just think she's a great addition. And she's also so young. She's 22 years old. So who knows, as like years go on, like maybe her thought process will be different and she'll feel the need to have those conversations with her father. But as of right now, like, if she doesn't want to have them, she doesn't have to. Now, if obviously her dad is going to know about it because she was filming. I mean, I don't think there's a world in which her parents don't watch the show. Do you know what I mean? So like, they're going to know, but like, listen, maybe it's just like, I don't know, like, common knowledge. It's just something you just don't need to say. Not everyone has to have those conversations with people, and like that's completely okay. But it's also very nice to see both sides. It's nice to see Michols and like his story and like his journey of all of that. It's also nice to see Lake's, because I'm sure people resonate with both. There's going to be different people who resonate with Lake's, then there's going to be people who resonate with Michols, and to have that amount of like diversity on the cast is, I mean, listen, it's amazing. So I love both of them, and I hope that they are able to come back next season. Don't you dare change this cast next season. Now I will say the last half of the reunion is all about Will and Emmy. Now they mention again that Will is in the building but not on stage, and Emmy says his mental health can't take it anymore. Now, Andy says to Emmy that what's clear is that Will shit-talked her and wants to know why it's a problem for them to sit down and talk about it amongst the group. It's like, Will is talking shit about you, but you get mad when people are coming to you to talk to you about it. I don't want to get too much into that because we talked about it on the pod with Mia and Molly, and we just know that like it's just not, she just doesn't like being confronted about it. And it is actually pretty crazy too, because they didn't talk about this on the reunion, where she said that she would have been okay if she was approached about it by one of her friends in like a different manner. She says that if TJ would have been the one to say something to her about it one-on-one, she would have been more receptive to the information than it coming from anyone else. And Andy asked TJ, like, do you think that that's true? Like, do you think that she would have believed it coming from you? And he says no, especially if it was on camera. So I think what I've gathered from all of this is that Emmy does not like to talk about her relationship with cameras around. Now, girl, that is your job, but like, and she knows it. She's even said, like, I know our job is to be like transparent and we're on reality TV and like we have to tell our stories. But I think also she probably wanted to talk about it before going on camera, so that way she can kind of maybe have it come off the way that she wants. You know, like, but you can't do that. Like, it just doesn't come off as like, it doesn't come off as like genuine. Do you know what I mean? And she just hated the fact that people were talking about it in general. And now Emmy has a complete meltdown. She's saying that it's not normal for people to deal with like this type of kind of like pile on about like their relationship. And she's saying that like it's not normal for people to have to relive trauma, essentially. Like, they're talking about her relationship and then in real time, and then it's being aired on the show, and then she has to relive that, and now they're talking about it again at the reunion. Like, it was just a lot. It was a lot. But she's having a complete meltdown again, and I felt so bad for her because her boyfriend is backstage. He's not even on the stage to freaking console her. And Grace Lilly made a great point, and she just said, maybe this isn't the career path for you. Like, maybe it just, like, is not, this just ain't your calling, girl. And I don't know, because, again, I do think she's, like, so much fun with the crew when Will's not around. But, like, how she makes a really good, like, I don't know. I know. She doesn't even make a good argument for herself, because Emmy says that she can't date a man that has issues with people and be friends with the people. So ultimately, Will and Emmy both have to be friends with Brad and TJ in order for it to work out, and she doesn't know if that's possible. Which leads me to believe, like, how can they both come back, or how can one come back without the other and still participate in this group? Do you know what I mean? Like, if Will does not come back, and I do not see Will coming back next season, I think he's going to quit. How does Emmy come back and be around TJ and Brad and all these people when Will doesn't get along with them? I don't know, guys. We're going to have to think about it, and we got some time. Now, the crew usually does start filming, and then, like, within the next couple of months, I think maybe June? May, June, I'm assuming. So, I mean, there's a lot that has got to be healed in the next couple of months before cameras go up for season 4 if they're coming back, which I'm assuming that they are, like I said. So I'm hoping a lot of these relationships can be mended. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Emmy in general. Again, am I open to Emmy coming back next season? Yes, even if it's without Will. Maybe we'll get to see a different Emmy. Who's to say? But you better believe that we will be here to talk about it. That reunion could have been 2 more parts. And I'm a little upset that we're not getting more than 1, but that's okay. But that's what I got for you guys. A whole episode dedicated to the Southern Hospitality Season 3 finale and reunion. And I hope you enjoyed it. That was a lot. That was a lot of Southern Hospitality. I will leave you with this since it is Friday afternoon. Before I kind of close out this episode, Traitors, guys. What a season finale of Traitors. Congratulations to the faithfuls. Our girl Dolo made it to the end. I am so obsessed with this season. Maybe we'll talk and do a little bit about it next week. But until then, I hope that you guys have an amazing weekend to come. If you have friends that like Bravo, send them the link to the podcast and have them come over and join the party. Make sure that you're rating, reviewing, subscribing, following all the things. Leave a comment, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Love ya. Bye.